Hi guys, WhiteWarlock here. In this video I will showcase the Lightning Warp Freeze build I discussed in the last video by running a T16 map including a boss. The latest patch definitely buffed the character, giving it an extra 20% to all resistances, and a buff to considered casting also changed my support gems to let it deal more damage. I've replaced the Glaciation support gem as the new damage we got with the considered casting buff kinda filled the same role, but now it's also useful when we're not trying to freeze bosses. As you've seen, I've also got the Lightning Warp 6 linked. I've tested out what other gems I wanted and Inspiration really came out well. Now I never really fall under 95% of our mana from just the casting our spell, and our mana really feels more like an extra life pool than it did before. Even if you don't have a 6 link yet, but you've already transitioned to CI and Miner for Matter, I would definitely recommend trying out Inspiration support on your Lightning Warp and see what you can remove depending on how much damage you got. My next two upgrades will be my gloves and my boots. I want to try and fit rarity on both my gloves and my boots, and perhaps critical damage as well on my gloves. For reference, for this map, I'm now at +3 difficulty for bosses out of 4, so a boss in T16 might be a little bit easier or harder for you depending on how far you've gone in the Atlas tree. So this is the tier 16 that we are running. It's just relatively simple. I didn't want to pick one with temporal chains or chilled ground, because then the video might maybe be too long and would not showcase how it would look in a normal map. So basically you run around with shield charge, and then you start with the ball lightning, and you just go and you kill enemies. So yeah, with removing the glaciation support, you freeze bosses a little bit slower, not that slow, because yeah, you're basically running 40% more damage instead of 50% more freeze buildup, which is kind of the same, not exactly obviously. But yeah, so we're kind of reducing that, but otherwise it's very good for like basic mapping as well. If you really miss the glaciation support for bossing, you can decide to always cut the inspiration, which is still very nice for bossing because you're basically never using your mana for spells. As you can see, I'm never basically going under 99% even. And yeah, if you ever get hit by a boss, you probably lose your ES. And if the map or the boss itself has some dot or something where you can't regen your ES, the mana regen or the mana is really important there. Okay, so yeah, how I map is I kind of like go through some packs. I don't really backtrack for normal packs. I just try to find the rares, because the rares are basically where all the loot is, right? Where you can find the raw exalts most of the time. I got a filter as well. I just got the new Never Sink filter you can find on Reddit. I'll also post a link below in the description. There we are already. Alright, so I'll show you actually bossing without using deceleration. Just a little bit on how you can. Okay, I used my comet too late. I didn't see it was already freezing. I was a little bit distracted, but that's okay. So yeah, you kind of just move like this. And there we are. It's very easy. Like bosses in even like difficulty 3 tier 16 or even tier 17 or even tier 18 are really easy. The +1 difficulty from 3 to 4 doesn't matter that much either. So yeah. Bosses are a little bit too easy in my opinion, but yeah, this build can definitely go well with it, especially if you use your comet at the right time. You can really just one-shot or like completely execute bosses if you get a crit.
Victory is mine.
But yeah, you need to actually crit, and that's something that yeah, I'm building towards with new jewels. And my wand currently has a very high crit chance, so if I want to replace my wand, I need to find one that also has very high crit chance. I think that currently just doesn't exist yet on the market, so that's a little bit disappointing. So currently I basically have the best wand I can get for my build, which is a little bit unfortunate. So I mean we just one-shot rare monsters as well, so glaciation support is not even like necessary anymore. Well, it was, especially when we used cast on freeze, it was really nice. Now you just like you one-shot essences, like rare essences with your build. Some bosses are a little bit harder because they got more HP. Like the mill boss. What the fuck? He was there? Apparently the last rare is here.
Not yet.
Also an extra tip. If you use shield charge like this, you can cancel the last animation. Let's say you shield charge here, but you want to go here, you can cancel it with your dodge. So you can still use it for movement speed, even though. Or let's show. Well, okay, see that is the strength that Comet can do. Okay, it barely survived, but yeah, Comet is really good as an execute spell, also on bosses. But yeah, that's the map. It was quite a short one. But yeah, you can imagine how good it can feel, especially the map when you are breaching, when there's a lot of enemies. You can just hold right click as long as one other enemy also gets hit by the previous lightning warp and takes enough damage. You can just continue culling. Otherwise, you just need to yeah, press ball lightning and go further. But yeah, so shield charge is a really nice new addition to the build. I really enjoy it as a movement skill. We have the shield basically. This build really feels like Battle of Exile 1, which is not the intention of the devs, right? But this build isn't overpowered or something, so I don't expect nerfs. The only nerf that you can expect is maybe on Archmage, which will obviously nerf the build as well because we use Archmage. But Lightning Warp still has a lot of base damage that the other lightning skills don't really have. Because you know you have Spark and Arc and something that just hits multiple times, while Lightning Warp hits once and pretty hard. So that's what I like about the build. It's kind of like Battle of Exile 1, right? One-shotting all the normal enemies. Yeah, let me know if you also like the build. I'm currently still working on the full build guide. I just really want to make sure that it contains all the information and I'm also recording footage of like bosses and mapping just to fill out. I finally completed my Ascendancy as well today, so I got the Heart of the Storm. So the reason I'm not going Tempest Color, just letting you know, is because when you fire ball lightning, as you can see, it already like has projectiles. It already fires projectiles when they are on your person. Let me actually grab. Let's grab the deceleration to show it. So when you fire it, it already fires the projectiles at the beginning. So when it hits an enemy and you create so many projectiles. So when it hits an enemy and it crits, it creates the storm there, and then the storm goes on cooldown. And often it just spawns just very close to you because it just hits a monster. It creates the storm just spawns on your character, and then it does nothing. So for this build, Storm is really bad, or like most of the time it just doesn't do anything. Well, the Heart of the Storm recoup is just some extra defense layer, and it also gives you 4% to all elemental resistances, so it just makes your resistances a little bit easier. Alright, so that's the video. Hope you guys liked it, and yeah, see you guys later. Bye bye.